I've been wanting to make this video pretty much since the very beginning of this channel. And without a doubt, this is going to be the hardest top 10 that I've ever done. Because today, I'm going to share with you guys my top 10 favorite video games. And greetings YouTube gamers, welcome to another episode of Retro Raider. My name is Johnny Retro and welcome back to the channel. That is right, I thought about why not? Today's the day, today I'm going to share with you my top 10 video games. Now just a quick disclaimer guys, this is not the ultimate top 10 and the great thing about these videos is that each one of us has its own favorites. A lot of these choices are based on my personal tastes and of course my personal memories because I grew up playing a lot of these games. So yeah, of course, a lot of retro gaming involved here. And by the way guys, if you're new on the channel, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss a thing. Okay, so without further ado, let's check out my top 10 video games right after this. Okay, number 1, a game that I've mentioned a lot of times here on the channel. You guys know that I love this game, and I'm talking about Octopath Traveler. Yeah, a modern game with a retro approach, I think that this one suits me. I remember when I first heard about Octopath Traveler, and it was when the announced trailer was released on the Nintendo Direct. I immediately fell in love with the concept of this game. I mean, it's pretty much my comfort zone because I love RPGs and I love pixel art. Games like Secret of Mana, Chrono Trigger, and this is a modern approach to those classics. The graphics are amazing, the soundtrack is one of the best soundtracks that I've ever heard on a video game. I love the story, I love the character backgrounds, I love the fact that it is turn-based, what can I say, old school, and it is just memorable, and without a doubt it is my favorite video game on the Nintendo Switch. And I'm very happy for having this amazing collector's edition, so yeah, number 1, Octopath Traveler. Okay, number 2. This is a PC game, and you guys know that I'm not a huge PC gamer, but I used to. Another RPG, but this time this is a dungeon crawler, and I'm talking about DarkStone Evil Reigns. There's a good chance that a lot of you never heard about this game, and there's also a good chance that you guys played it but on the PS1. Is it a good game? Is it the best dungeon crawler? Well, no. Is it a Diablo clone? Well, it is. But for me, it's all about the nostalgia, and this game without a doubt is probably the most nostalgic PC game of all time for me. I love dungeon crawlers, I still play dungeon crawlers this day. My introduction to dungeon crawlers was actually through the first Diablo, but at the time, I don't know, I think that this game just clicked with me. And what can I say, I prefer DarkStone to Diablo. It's one of those games where, it is kind of cheesy, I'll admit that, but it has to do with the time that I played it. I've actually made a video celebrating the 20th anniversary of DarkStone Evil Reigns, and I will leave the link of that video down below for you guys to check it out. And yeah, I really don't know what much to say about this. The only reason it's pure nostalgia. I used to play this game a lot back in the day with my friends, with my geeky friends at school. So yeah, number 2, DarkStone Evil Reigns on the PC. Now the next one, is this going to be another RPG? Well, yeah, it is going to be another RPG. And while this one was kind of an obscure one, I believe that all of you will relate to this game. Yeah, a little game from a little franchise called Pokemon, and yeah, it's Pokemon Yellow. I understand that for a couple of older folks in the audience, it's kinda hard to get into Pokemon these days, but I mean, it was part of my generation. I was a kid that grew up playing these games and watching the anime. I haven't followed the whole franchise on the video games, and of course that, each one of us has its own favorites. For me, still to this day, this is the golden age of Pokemon, and I just love the Pikachu edition. It combines everything that was good about Red and Blue, and I really can't tell you guys how many hours I spent playing this game. And back in the day in school, I mean, it was old school. We did trade Pokemons, and we used to be very competitive. I mean, Pokemon has always been a very competitive game, but back in the day, it was not online. It was, cartridges, the Game Boy, and the link cable. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not an expert on Pokemon. I've actually have Pokemon Sword, but I just play the game more for the story and for the environment of the game because it is a brand new Pokemon game on a brand new system. But back in the day, I'm not gonna lie, I was an expert, and I'm still an expert on this game, on Pokemon Yellow. I was the guy that had all the guides. I was the guy that, trained all of the Pokemons. I was the guy with Mew. And nowadays, looking at the whole franchise on a perspective, it's hard to, to say that, well, this is better than this, because each generation is a different generation. But to me, this was the ground zero. Still to this day, this is my favorite Pokemon game. So, Pokemon Yellow, number 3. Now, these next couple of games are from my favorite library of all time, from my favorite system of all time, and yeah, it's the PS1. I love fighting games, even though I'm not the best at it, but it's okay. I really enjoy them, especially old school fighting games. This game is from my favorite fighting franchise of all time, and yeah, it is my favorite on the series, so Tekken 3. This is the fighting game for me. This is the Tekken game for me. I love the roast of characters that was presented with this entry. I love the background story, I love the different fighting styles, and even though it is a 3D fighting game on the PS1, I really think that Tekken 3 aged very well. And even though my favorite character is not on this game, which is of course Kazuya Mishima, even taking that into consideration, Tekken 3 for me is the best in the series. So number 4, Tekken 3. Now this next one, and let me tell you guys, this was a hard pick because I have different favorites all the time, and when it comes to this amazing franchise, I think that number 2, the second game, is a superior game, but I picked this just out of pure nostalgia. Tomb Raider. The reason why I picked Tomb Raider was because, this was the ground zero for me. This was one of the very first games that I got back home on my PS1, and it was a game that I didn't pick the game. My parents picked this game for me, and that's why it is very nostalgic. I played this game from start to finish with my mom and dad. I'm not gonna lie, this was during the best period of my life, the best time and best memories from my childhood. And not just because Tomb Raider, but I mean, everything was perfect at the time. I was, I don't know, 7 or 8 years old. My parents got me the PS1, and as a kid, and back in the day, there was not a lot of information like we have these days, and my parents weren't gamers, so I guess that they were kind of worried about the fact, what games are we going to get, to the kid. And my father used to get, these old PS1 magazines and, just go through them, and well, that game sounds fun. So yeah, they picked Tomb Raider for me, but in the end, I think that they loved the game even more than I did. It was so fun to play this game back in the day. And again, with no guides and with no YouTube videos or playthroughs or anything like that. The graphics, I mean, Lara Croft, the puzzles. I mean, there was tension in this game. There was some, deep moments. It was such a great adventure. The Croft Manor, I used to spend hours in the Croft Manor practicing my moves. Also the soundtrack, I mean, everything is nostalgic for me about this game. Now, looking at the whole franchise, the franchise has changed a lot, and again, I think that Tomb Raider 2 is a superior game, but, just based on pure nostalgia, I've picked the original Tomb Raider. The Tomb Raider that I played with my parents. So, yeah, number 5, Tomb Raider, the original one. Now, this next one. Every kid that grew up playing video games has a favorite mascot. Kids that grew up with Nintendo grew up with Mario. Kids that grew up with Sega grew up with Sonic. Me, I was a PS1 kid, so of course that I grew up with Crash Bandicoot. My favorite 3D platformer of all time. This is my favorite Crash Bandicoot game and one of my favorite games of all time, and it is Crash Bandicoot Warped. Crash Bandicoot 1 was good, Crash Bandicoot 2 was even better, Crash Bandicoot 3 is the Crash Bandicoot game. I love the theme, I love the time traveling, I love the level designs, I love the story, I love the brand new characters, I love the bosses, and yeah, I have accomplished everything that you could in this game. And this is one of those games where, in order to finish it, completely finish it, it is not 100% completed, it is 105%. And yeah, I did it, all the angst from the time levels, all the gems, all the crystals of course, secret levels, everything. I can easily complete this game, still to this day, and in one go, in one afternoon. So yeah, a lot of nostalgia here. This is my childhood on a video game. Number 6, Crash Bandicoot Warped. Next, let's go back to RPGs. Final Fantasy is one of my favorite JRPGs franchises of all time. And the first Final Fantasy game that I played was Final Fantasy VII. But my favorite, and you guys know if you follow my channel, is of course Final Fantasy VIII. a controversial choice. I know a lot of Final Fantasy fans don't like Final Fantasy VIII, but you know, if you do, and you're probably like me, because the people that enjoy Final Fantasy VIII, you know, we really, really enjoy it. It is different. It is a different entry on the series. It's kind of a unique game, and I do understand that it is not for everybody. You know, the leveling system and the fighting mechanics, it's kind of complicated. But for me, and here's the thing, here's the reason why Final Fantasy VIII is my favorite. Final Fantasy, you know, each Final Fantasy game is its unique game, its own game. So of course it is all about the story, all about the plot, all about the characters and their backgrounds, but for me, it has always been about the world and its Imaginarium. And I just love the world of Final Fantasy VIII. I mean, at the time, there were so many things to do. This is such an incredible open world. So even though it doesn't have the most memorable characters, even though it doesn't have, you know, the best or most original story, I mean, the world of Final Fantasy VIII, it really feels alive for me. And I'm not gonna lie, back in the day, you know, without guides or walkthroughs, I've spent a lot of hours with this game. And it took me about 1.5 years to fully complete it. Nowadays, well, I really lost count how many times I've played Final Fantasy VIII, how many times I've finished this game. But yeah, it is just a very, very special game for me. I love Final Fantasy VIII. And we can't complain because we did got a remaster, but I really wish for a remake for this one. So Square Enix, please make it happen. So hey, number 8, Final Fantasy VIII. Now down to the last 3, and so far I didn't follow, you know, a specific order, but now I'm going to do it. This is going to be, you know, third, second, and favorite. So let's start with my third favorite video game of all time. This game for me is more than just a game. It's a community, it's an escape, it's a place where I can just go and get out of, you know, my everyday life. When I'm playing this game, and it doesn't matter if I'm playing it with friends or solo, I really get into it. I really get into this world. This world called World of Warcraft. I picked the Lich King expansion because this expansion was my favorite time period in World of Warcraft. And hey, I was a Warcraft 3 kid, so Frozen Throne all the way. If you're not into MMOs, that is totally okay. And if you think that you probably are going to enjoy it, but you never try it. If you never tried an online multiplayer game, I mean, World of Warcraft is the game. I have so many memories with World of Warcraft, so many adventures that I've experienced with friends and with people around the world, actually. You know, raiding and guilds. And yeah, I am an RP player, and I'm not afraid to say it. I'm not a creepy RP player. I mean, if you play World of Warcraft, you know what I'm talking about. But I've always played on role-playing servers. And I mean, if you like Dungeons and Dragons, but if you don't have the time, you know, to find a group or to actually play the game, you know, around the table, but if you want a similar online experience, just play World of Warcraft on a role-playing server. A lot of World of Warcraft gamers think that, you know, it's weird, but you know, when you roleplay in World of Warcraft, you are really being a part of the world, of the universe, and you are creating your unique story, your own story, within this huge, massive world with a huge background. And about the actual game, well, I just love it. It is wow. I love the characters. I love Azeroth, and Azeroth is the main reason why this game is still running and strong. It's the world of Azeroth, and it is the community. And when I got my brand new gaming PC, I went back to World of Warcraft because I quit it for a couple of years, but one of my best friends, Ferry, I've mentioned him in a couple of times here on the channel. I actually have to bring him here to the channel. This guy is my World of Warcraft buddy, and he says something about the game that I really relate to. He says that, you know, a World of Warcraft player never really quits World of Warcraft. Sometimes we just take a couple of vacations from Azeroth, we just stopped for a bit, maybe we skipped, you know, an expansion, but we always have that feeling. And I'm not gonna lie, it is a very addictive game. But nowadays it has changed a lot. So you really don't need to spend, you know, hundreds of hours, you know, looking for, you know, for gear and and you know, because there was a time where if you didn't have a strong character, you couldn't do anything in the game. Nowadays it's different, and you can play it casual. So yeah, World of Warcraft, my third favorite video game of all time. Let me just get room for this guy right here. And number 2, I'm just going to jump right into it. Number 2 is Streets of Rage 2. And yeah, you guys know, if you follow my channel, I've told this story 100 times before. Streets of Rage 1, the original one, was my very first contact with video games. That one is more nostalgic, that game is amazing, but Streets of Rage 2, for me, is the definition of a masterpiece. I love old school beat 'em ups, and it's okay if you prefer Final Fight or Turtles in Time or Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, but for me, and I'm not afraid to say it, this is the best beat 'em up ever made. The graphics, the pixel art on Streets of Rage 2, it is just some of the most beautiful that I've ever seen. The soundtrack of this game by Yuzo Koshiro, again, a masterpiece of its own. The gameplay is fun and addictive. I love the mechanics of this game. I love the pacing of this game. The level design is superb. The bosses are very original. And I love the whole franchise. I have all of the 3 games. And I already pre-ordered Streets of Rage 4 for the PS4 on limited run games. And I really can't wait for that game. I think that game is going to be really good. And yeah, for me, Streets of Rage 2, and if you guys like this series, I think that you guys are going to agree with me. Streets of Rage 2 is the best. So number 2, my second favorite video game of all time, Streets of Rage 2. Last but not least, number 1. What is my favorite video game of all time? You guys know it. If you follow my channel, you guys know it. This is going to be no surprise for you. It's right here on my left. It's always here with me. The one and only, the original Kingdom Hearts. I played this game at the right time. It was the perfect time for me to play this game. And I totally remember when Kingdom Hearts was announced. The first time that I've heard about Kingdom Hearts was through a TV show, a video game TV show back in the day called Templo dos Jogos, which translates to the Temple of Games. Kingdom Hearts was announced, and at the time it was so weird for me. I mean, a combination of Final Fantasy characters with Disney characters, but you know, it just clicked for me. And I just love the whole franchise. Last year we got Kingdom Hearts 3. I love Kingdom Hearts 3. And here's the thing, I've teased about this before. I approached this subject a couple of times before here on the channel, but I never really did a video on it. You know, the reason why this game, it's so important for me. And the reason why I never did that video, it's because you know, it really is very personal. And when you put your face in front of a camera, and upload videos on YouTube, you are kind of exposing yourself a little bit, and I try to be as careful as I can, but at the same time this channel is also about, you know, my memories, my personal memories attached to video games. But of course, as a person, as an individual, I'm more than just this. You know, what you guys see here on the channel is just a part of what I am, is the part that I've chosen to share with you. But of course that we all have a past, and we all have ups and downs. And when I played this game at the time, it was the worst time in my life. A lot of bad things were happening to me in school, with my family, with my parents. It was hard. A very important person for me got sick during this time, and again, one day I'll promise that I will make that video, but not today. But at the time I was 14 years old, and I didn't have that many friends, and that's fine. I was okay with that because I was an only child, and I was 14 at the time. And funny enough, I was at the same age as Sora, the protagonist, 14 years old. 14-year-old boy, and yeah, adolescence, you know how it is. Like I said, guys, a lot of things were happening, some really bad stuff, you know, to my family, unfortunately. And this game was there for me. This game was my escape. And the whole theme about Kingdom Hearts, and a lot of people, you know, people that didn't play the game think that this is a game for kids just because, you know, it has Disney characters. But I really think that this is a game for everybody. And the topic of the game, the theme, is friendship. It really works everything around friendship, about the friendship of these three kids, Sora, Riku, and Kairi. And I really relate to that. I used to dream with Kingdom Hearts. I'm not even kidding. And of course, I love the universe. I love Squaresoft. I love Final Fantasy. I love Disney, of course. I love the gameplay. I love the graphics. I love the music. I love everything there is to love about this game. I love the game as it is, as for what it is, as a video game. But the true reason why it is my favorite video game of all time, it's really that game that was there for me. And if you guys are passionate for the hobby, if you guys are passionate for video games, I believe that you also have that game with you, that game in your memory, that game that helped you. So without a doubt, still to this day, almost 20 years later, Kingdom Hearts still remains my favorite video game of all time. And it is done, guys. Here it is. These are my top 10 video games of all time. I really hope that you guys have enjoyed this video, and please let me know down below what are your favorite video games of all time. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to put a like on this video, please subscribe to the channel, and take care of yourselves, take care of the gaming community, and game a lot.